Coelho, and today we're going to do the, I believe this is the 30th live we are here together. Again, let me get started here. Today we're going to talk about the theme called There Will Never Be Another You. We got two folks watching. It's a large crowd. Very excited. Now just one. That's great. That's probably my producer or my mom. Either one of those two. Jason! What's up, Jason? Good to have you here, bud. Today we're going to talk about There Will Never Be Another You. I just sent a message kind of too much on top of the time to my Instagram. And so people might be joining us later on. And so yeah, do you guys know this theme? There will never be another you. I think not just if you want to be a jazz musician. Some people don't see themselves as jazz musicians, but just as a musician overall, it is very good for you to know just repertoire, universal repertoire. What is that? Universal repertoire is just tunes that everybody knows. Like if you go to Japan, you go to Germany, to the States or whatever, Brazil, you have Mr. Metacoustician. Good to see you too, brother. Thank you for being here. So what I was saying is, it's great to know tunes that are just universal, so that you have a terrain to converse with any musicians around the world, any instruments. You know, this is the coolest thing. I spent some time in New York, and I think it was 2015 or 2014. I spent 3 to 4 months there. And it was so cool that you would go to any jazz club and you would play with people you have never seen before, a bunch of them. And you would play the same tunes. And that was just an interesting feeling of this universal thing, you know, through music. So that is why it's important to know tunes. And also because every tune is an example of how music works. The more tunes you know, the more music you know. The more music theory, the more options of, you know, building a walking bass, a chord melody, scales, phrases, everything. So you need to acquire a nice repertoire of tunes. I remember when I was in college for music, I was in a jazz studies program in the States. And me and some of the other students used to compete who had the longest list of tunes that we knew. And I had about some 50 or 60 tunes that I knew. And so it was always like a race to know more and more tunes so that you could say you knew more than the other guys. So anyways, guys, all right. Long time no see, Maciek, Master Acoustician, back with some flamenco questions to annoy you. No, that's fine. Mr. Metacoustician, I have to tell you, as some of the guys on the channel know, I'm getting these 2 fingernails treated because I had a little accident in which I jammed a plastic sheet in between my nail and the flesh, and I had some fiber tissue grow underneath my nail, so I had to get it filed and apply some acid. So I've been just playing with my thumb for about 2 months now, just playing with my thumb. And I even got a gig tonight, a jazz gig, and I'm just going to be using the thumb. But I've developed this thing, which I already used to develop before I actually hurt my finger, which is the pick slanting technique. Is basically taking the gypsy picking technique, gypsy jazz picking technique, and imitating it exactly the same way with the thumb. I have a couple of other videos that I've explained this, so I'm not going to go into much depth about that, but basically you're always leaning down, and you sweep downwards like this. Yeah. And whenever you're going up, you have to repeat the downstroke. Like that. Down, 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 down. It's a little difficult, but it works. So okay, guys, let's go for the tune now. Let's get started. There Will Never Be Another You. The tune is in E flat, and I'm going to sing the melody for you real quick, and then later I'm going to play it as in a chord melody fashion. The melody goes. I sang the melody, which is a good thing for you to do, and then I played sort of a chord, not so much chord melody, but I just harmonized to myself, and then I took a little simple solo there with my physical limitations here. But let's analyze the tune harmonically now, which is a very important thing for you to do in order to understand the tune and know how to go about it. So, we got some questions already. That's horrible, sir. Stay safe, get well soon. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you, Mr. Metacoustician. I've been developing my thumb, so that's a good thing about it. You know, I'm getting better with my thumb. But check. It is one of the few tunes which starts on the 6th of the scale. Technically, it's the second note of the head. It's a good mnemonic when I want to find where the 6 is. Yes, it is. The other tune would be meditation. True. Oh, nice bluesy phrase there. Thank you. So yes, it starts on the 6th. True. So here we have a E flat Ionian scale, and you would, just want to play a nice little arpeggio on here, maybe something like this. So I have 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 6, 5. I've been using this phrase sometimes, like. Now I have a D half diminished. The half diminished chord already pre-announces what's coming next. 90% of the times a half diminished chord, which is represented by the Locrian mode, is going to do a 2-5-1 towards a minor chord. So if you see D half diminished, you can already predict. Next chord is going to be a G7 Phrygian dominant or altered chord if you want, and then finally arriving at the tonic function C minor. So here, if you want to deal with this, you might want to start just with an arpeggio or scale like this. Arpeggio, 1, flat 3, flat 5, and 7. Or right, and then so yeah, every time you practice an arpeggio, try to practice in as many different regions as you can, and try to never. This is a trap a lot of guitar players fall into, is they try to go by ear, and then you hunt for the note, and then once you do, you think, oh, I heard the right note, so that means I have a good ear. But that's bad. It's a bad strategy of practicing, because when you're performing, you don't have the chance to try out by ear. You have to go for the right note. So this means that whenever you're practicing, try to not play a note and risk making a mistake. Stop yourself and make sure you get the right note. That way you're going to be practicing the right way, which is to know the location of the note you want. You know the interval, and then you find the location. So, here in half diminished, I want flat 3, flat 5, minor 7, tonic, flat 3, flat 5, minor 7. And now let's go for the G chord. If I'm on the 7th, I have a video about this on my channel saying how to master the 2-5-1 progression. In this video, I explained that once you get to the 7th of the 2 chord, all you gotta do is move it down by step. And then you're landing right on the most important note of the progression, which is the major 3rd. Okay, so that's the most important change. Every time you're doing a 2-5, try to aim for the 7th and move it down to the 3rd. And then you're here. Okay? So now here on this guy, I'm going to use the Phrygian dominant scale, which is this. Okay, with the arpeggio. Okay, there's 2 different ways of doing an arpeggio. You can do it vertically, or you can do it sort of diagonally. The vertical is the easy one. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1. And then the diagonal one is you take 2 notes per string. So you're going to have 1 and 3 on one string and 5 and 7 on the other. So I got this. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. 1, 3, 5, 7. And you can do stuff like this, maybe. Or little phrase for effect. Or something like this. That's just double thumbing each note. It's just some ideas for effect. Whenever you want to do something that's a little more technically impacting, call attention to yourself just to build your ego. So here we go. We got some Santiago Cardenas. Nice. I like the diagonal idea. Yeah. Diagonal idea is also a good way for you to be able to get from the low to the high part without having to do a big jump. So here we go one more time. And we can go from here. I could take the tonic and then do the diagonal thinking backwards now. So I got 1 and 7 on one string, 5 and 3 on the other. So it becomes this. Again. Okay, that's from sort of the gypsy school. Okay, and then we finally arrive at the C minor chord. This is Aeolian mode. So here's the scale. Arpeggio. Here I did the 1, 2, 3, 5 arpeggio, which I like so much. Very much favors the picking technique with the thumb. Okay, and now the tune goes, take the minor chord, a whole step down. And this is a B flat Dorian. What is a B flat Dorian doing within the key of E flat major 7? It does not exist in there. In the key of E flat major 7, the B flat is supposed to be mixolydian or dominant. So if you have a Dorian chord, minor chord laying right here, you can already predict what's going to happen. 2, 5, 1 to the 4th. Because the B flat is the 2 of the 4th degree Lydian. So I have B flat, so I can predict the next chord is probably going to be E flat dominant. And it is so. So we got B Dorian, E flat Dorian, E flat mixolydian going to A flat major 7 Lydian. Okay? So here's a nice little 2-5-1 phrase you could do maybe. But I used the altered scale there. I cheated to make it cooler. This is just a phrase. I'm stacking thirds, going from the tonic, 3rd, minor 3rd, 5th, 7th, and 9th. Once I get there, I do this chromatic way down, but it's not just a chromatic. Now I get to now that I am at the dominant chord, this is the sharp 5. So I go, this is a Charlie Parker line. From the altered scale here, who's the altered scale on E flat? When I say altered, you need to think dominant, so that gives you tonic, 3rd, and minor 7th. And then all of the remaining notes are altered. Flat 9, sharp 9, flat 5, sharp 5. That's the altered scale. And it gives you this sound right here. Okay, how about... So these are all fourths, voices in fourths within the E altered. They're all E altered chords. Sorry. All E altered chords. So the phrase again. So what did I do? Sharp 5. Right as I arrive at this note is the chord change. So this is sharp 5, 3, sharp 9, flat 9. And then the slur, typical of bebop and jazz. I got major 3rd, slurring to the sharp 11, and ending at the sharp 9. And then that's the relation, that's the resolution. Flat 9 of E flat, flat 9, going to the 5th of A flat. Okay, so now I got the Lydian guy here. So the Lydian scale is the Lydian chord, or maybe. Okay, there's a bunch. How about this? It's a nice one. This is an inversion. Based on the 3rd, I got tonic, flat, tonic, sharp 11, which is the Lydian characteristic sharp 11, and the major 7. So then, very typical of jazz and Brazilian music as well, and even classical music. This movement comes from classical music, is the 4th degree going minor. And every time you have this situation, you use the melodic minor scale. This is very common. You have to make sure, guys, that you Daisy line. Thank you, Jason. This right here is the melodic minor scale. So what's the melodic minor scale? It's a minor scale with a major 6 and a major 5th. Major 6 and a major 7. like so. This. I like this one. This is flat 3 right here, major 7 and 9. Maybe a 4th up there. There it is. Just want to try my ear out if I could sing the 11th. Yeah, more like this. Minor scale, and then we go back to 1, so simple major again, and then 6th degree, so 1, 6, 2, 5, and then now comes an interesting chord. It is the 2nd degree appearing as a dominant. This is a very important chord. We got a question here, a metacoustician. After this, please try to explain seguidillas compás, sir. In your way, pa 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 pa. It will be hard to play for you, so just explaining verbally will help. Okay, well that's a very different subject than what we're dealing with here today. Maybe at the end I might say something about that. But you can also check. There's a lot of sources on the internet about seguidilla. But seguidilla is just, to answer your question, is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 1 tikitum tikiting tikatum tikatum tatum tikatum tikitum tikatum tikatum. And I don't have my nails, but that's it. You got 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 5 and 5. And then you build the falsettos over that compa. But let's not lose the idea here. So then here's the chord that's coming now. It's the 2nd degree appearing as a dominant chord. This chord also happens in flamenco. This is the Lydian dominant chord. Every time you have a dominant appearing on the 2nd degree of the key you're in, you're going to use the Lydian dominant. That example is everywhere in music. For example, The Girl from Ipanema. Here it is. How about Desafinado from Jobim, also the same key. Se você disser que eu desafino, amor. How about Take the A Train from Duke Ellington? It goes. So, and this right here, in this tune. So here you would use that Lydian dominant scale. Maybe you could play like this. Sharp 11 right here. So okay. What's a phrase we could do on there? One phrase I like to do is this. A sequence I got from the guitar player called Jimmy Bruno. Jimmy Bruno is a bebopper. I think he was from New York. I checked him out for a while. Transcribed some stuff of his. And he used to do this line, but not just on the Lydian dominant scale, on other scales as well. But the idea of this line, say just over a D Dorian, is you take a note and you play it up 2 notes and go back to it. That's it. And then you do the same thing going down in thirds. So if I started here, I'm going to go down a third, so I'm here. And I'm going to do the same line, going up 2 notes, and going back. So go 2 notes and go back. And I'm going to go down a third. I'm here. So I'm going to apply that pattern. And it becomes this. It's a nice way to play something melodically rather than just playing the scale. You know, you could go. It's very, I think it's more musical than playing a line. And it's important to have stuff like this up your sleeve because not every time you are inspired by some genius melody. You know what I mean? It's not in every solo that a ray of light falls into your brain and you just 1 second, guys. I'm getting some noise here. It is not every day that you, not in every solo that you get. I'm going to put this on silent. Okay. Not every day you get an inspiration of a melodic line that you compose while you're soloing. So whenever you don't have an inspiration, it's good to have some ideas of things that you can simply fill in and that can sound melodic rather than just playing a scale. So that kind of idea, I'll use every time that I don't have anything better to play. So now here I'm applying it over a Lydian dominant scale. What's a Lydian dominant scale? It's the fourth mode of the melodic minor. It's simply exactly what it's called. A Lydian, that means major with the sharp 4. However, dominant. So that means it is a minor 7th instead of a major 7th. So it goes 2, 3, 4, 5. Thank you, Mr. Methacoustician, for caring about me. So then, most times that this happens, that this chord happens, the Lydian dominant on the 2nd degree, 90% of the cases it will go minor, preparing it to 5 back home. Okay, so that's what happens here. So let's do a little 2-5-1 phrase here, maybe. So that's. This phrase is actually a lick. I will admit to you guys I did not improvise that. I actually took it from a solo. It goes, starts on the minor 7. Then goes down the arpeggio. Right? 7, 5, 3, 1. And then you do the slur. And I'm already doing the slur down to the leading tone of the major 3rd. So I'm already thinking in advance here that I'm going to go to this chord, to the 5. And I'm playing ahead of time, not rhythmically wise, but I'm foreseeing or advancing the note here, the 3rd, and then the chord really arrives here, right, on the 13th. So I did 6, 5, not thinking about the root as being the 5. 6, 5, 3, 1. And I finish at the 3rd of the major 1. So okay, so that's the form. Oh, and then we do the whole thing again and go to the 2nd ending. So it's going to be this form of the tune is A and then A2, or A prime as some say. That is a frequent form that you have in jazz music. The tune Smile that I covered last week also has the same form. It's basically 2 A's, but they just have a different ending. So here you're going to have one more time the same progression. Now is the 2nd ending. It goes. It does this very beautiful 2-5-1 outside of the key. Whenever the melody's on the major 7, that major seventh as a fourth of A and D. And this sets you up for what they call a backdoor cadence. A backdoor cadence is whenever the dominant, there's three ways the dominant chord can resolve. The dominant chord can resolve either a fourth up, like so, a half step down, like so, or also a whole step up, or sometimes a half step up. There's actually four different ways the dominant can resolve. Whenever it resolves from behind upwards onto the resolution chord, you call it a backdoor cadence because it comes from the back door. So with this A minor chord, it sets up a backdoor cadence, which is the D7 resolving up to E flat, and you see that you hear that it actually works. See, why does it work? It's because it's a half step resolution. The entire chord is being voice led by a half step. Right there. Sorry. Right? That's why it works. An example of this backdoor resolution could be, for example, in the tune from Jobim, Eu Sei Que Vou Te Amar. It goes C, C sharp diminished, D, D sharp diminished, E minor, E7 resolving to F major. So we got E7 resolving up to F major. This also happens in the tune, I think it happens in the tune All of Me, right? It goes E7 up to F. So you have here D7 up to E flat. Hey, Schlim. What's up, Fade? Good to see you, bro. Amazing stuff. This tune is a legendary. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Good to have you here, bro. So, now is the ending of the tune. This is simply a fall onto the 5 of 2. This is very common. This is from the blues. The blues has this. Right? We've all heard this in the blues progression. The blues progression would be so right there you have it. Whenever you do this major chord falling down, a minor third all the way down to a minor, this is the distance of a minor third, it becomes the 5 of 2. What is the 5 of 2? It's the dominant chord that is a fourth above the 2. It's going to resolve a fourth down to the 2. So, right? So it is the 5th of the 2. And then 2, 5, 1. And here you can actually outline this in your solo. You could play the very chord going down like this. Bless you, dude. Thank you. So, any questions, guys, about the harmonic situation in this tune? It's not a difficult tune. The only things you have there are the melodic scale going on here over the second degree Lydian dominant. It is the fourth mode of the melodic minor scale. And this interesting A minor to D7. And then you got, right? So I'm going to take another solo here while there are no questions. I'm going to take a solo. I'm going to be like a real man, taking a solo without backing track or backing chords. So, and with 2 fingers hurt. So I'm going to try to just do very simple lines. Usually when in past lives, as you guys have seen, I did one live on Cherokee one time. You guys can go back and check it. And I had my 2 fingers here working, and I could, I like to solo always holding the root. That's one of the things I did in that live, was try to hold the root as playing the solo, so the harmony becomes a lot clearer. This time, I'm going to behave like a picking guitar player, and I'm going to just play lines without the bass. And what I'm going to do to make up for that is try to fill in with chordal hits whenever my line breathes, whenever I take a breath from my lines, because you don't want to play lines non-stop, right? That becomes sort of anti-musical. You want to be able to speak and breathe, speak and breathe. Whenever you're breathing, you fill in with a rhythmic hit. Jason, could you talk about some voicings that work well with the melody? Sure. Let me try to come up with it. How about this? You got right here, moved in fourths. Moved in fourths. The melody goes. So all the way up to there, I could use voices in fourths like this. Yeah, so all I did was. Mixing sixes and fourths here. Here's fourths, fourths, fourths. Now here, sixes. Every time you have a hard time finding a chord to put on a voicing, just use sixes. Sixes will always take care of the deal. Here's just with sixes. That's just sixes, right? Or fourths, just pure fourths this time. B flat minor. You could do there. Fill it in with the dominant chord. Or here. Right? Just using the E flat dominant while playing the melody. Here's my A flat. The root is right here. I'm playing 3, 6, 9, 5. And I'm using these fingers because it was the quickest way to get there. So again, right here is A flat minor, so I'm putting the minor third right there, and my root is right here. But I don't have to play the root every time. So 5, 3, 9, 1, 7, and I'm thinking the melodic minor scale. The melody is on the 7, 7, 5, and flat 3. Here's the actual chord. Now I'm back on E flat, so I'm using an inversion here, based on the 3rd, 5th tonic, and 5th again. And then C minor. No, it's yeah. That's C minor 11. And then now F7, Lydian dominant. Actually, guys, interestingly enough, you may use the Lydian dominant to improvise, but the melody uses the natural fourth. I just realized that. Here's a natural fourth. Because it's falling down to the 3rd. So the gravity down to the 3rd justifies the use of the perfect fourth. Because in this kind of line, it's much better to use the natural fourth. But if I'm going upwards, the sharp 4 is going to be justified. Listen. See? See, I use both fours. Sharp 4 here, leading to the 5th, and flat 4 or perfect fourth, leading down to the 3rd. The chord is F7. So here's the scale. Here's the arpeggio. So back to the voicings. I forgot the melody. You can use this nice E natural Lydian dominant here to do a tritone sub resolution down to E flat. The real chord is B flat. The melody's up here. But you can substitute, that's why it's called a tritone sub. You can substitute a B flat dominant for an E dominant. And then you're back. song before, but I use it up here. It's a B flat minor, but I'm going to use this time. And the cool thing about this voicing, there's lots of little tricks with it. You can do these stirrs. You can also do this. That's a little Kenny Burrell, George Benson lick. But what I like to do about this voicing is, for a minor chord, the melody's on the ninth, is you can simply do a nice 2-5-1 by voice leading like this. Take these two guys down. It sounds great. Or with the bass. The bass would be here. Yeah, it's kind of hard to grasp, but then that's the bass of my E flat dominant chord. This voicing gives you the 7th, flat 9, 3, and 13th. Okay? So just some ideas that Jason asked there. A flat major again. Same voice as before. Now is the time of the A minor. The voices I'm using here is A minor, so I'm using this voicing right here. Tonic, 5th, 7th, and 4th or 11th up top. Whenever I use this voicing, I always do the bar with this finger here, because this is a Joe Pass type of lick where he goes, he carries the melody up top by using these two notes. So I already leave this chord prepared. Whenever I play this chord, I never do it like this, because this is a waste of fingers. Everything I can bar, I always bar, so that I leave fingers out, available. And once you learn the grasping of the chord, you see how much it's worth to do it this way, because it saves you time. Doing this takes more time than doing this. So here's my D7. So A minor, that's the 2-5. Here's the 5, D7. This voicing has the bass right here. It has tonic, 7, 9, 3, and tonic again. This is one of my favorite voices for a dominant chord. It's very jazzy. Wow, so much to unpack there. That's awesome. Yeah, man. Feel free to go back in the live. The live is going to stay recorded, and you can watch it anytime in the channel. So here, and then the ending of the tune. We could actually harmonize this with the chords going down. Let's see how that would work. I've never done it before, so bear with me. It works perfectly. It sounds perfectly. So here, the melody falls on the tonic of the falling chord, because they got falling chords chromatically. Now on the 13th, in the 7, and then yeah. So playing with the thumb has been quite a challenge for me. Very, very challenging. Hey guys, thank you so much for those donations. iMusic Academy. Bob, nice to see you again, bro. Nice to have you here. What happened to his middle and index fingers? They got screwed up. What a beast. Hey guys, when you're doing that triplet arpeggios at the start of phrases, do you always go for the same chord tones for them? Probably so. However, I'm not quite aware of which you were talking about. Here, just to answer Fuji Boy there, what happened to my fingers, bro, is that I jammed. It was actually this exact book right here. This is the Ginga Compositions book. It has this plastic sheet right here, and I was cleaning up my music area here. This book was down on the floor, so I was gonna grab it like this, and as I grabbed it, this plastic sheet kind of went into my between my fingernail and the flesh, and it really hurt. And then I thought it was just going to get well by itself, but then I had this fiber tissue grow between the nail and the flesh as a natural response of the body to close that off, to seal that. And then my nail actually got raised. It was growing raised and I could not play. So I'm getting this medically treated for about almost 2 months now. And it's getting well. The nail is growing back well, and I just put this, the doctor put this thing around my fingers because there was a little acid thing applied onto the fiber, the tissue, to help it get rid of it, and then the nail is going to grow back. But I'm enjoying this time to work with my fingers, sort of like a Wes Montgomery slash George Benson style, and using the picking technique of the Gypsy guys. So, hey guys, thank you so much for these donations. I really appreciate that. Wow. Thank you so much, guys. Definitely appreciate that. Art, that's terrifying. Good to hear you're dealing with it. Yeah, thank you. Santiago, can you do the diagonal arpeggios backwards, like starting bass string 12th fret, going towards the first string fret direction? No, you cannot do that because the guitar doesn't function that way. The diagonal is going from the low to the high. Never from the low in the high part of the neck back to the high string in the low part, because the guitar is not going to respond that way. So only diagonally this way. Back to the question from Jason there. Basically, I'll give you some examples. You said triplet arpeggios, right, Jason? Let me make sure I can sort of understand what you mean. Doing the triplet arpeggios at the start of phrases. Like that. Sometimes I do this. It's just an arpeggio 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then from the 9 I'm encapsulating the 1. So that's a phrase I probably do a lot. But you can do it in anywhere. You can do like here I started from the 3rd. I just stack thirds like that, just like I did here. This is 1, 3, 5, 7. Now I'm doing 3, 5, 7, 9. And then who's my next available chord tone after the 9 is the 3rd. So then I encapsulate the 3rd. And you can keep going. You could go forever, right? So it's just stacking thirds. And then, yeah, the important thing is that you resolve on a chord tone. That's the third. 3, 2, 1. You gotta resolve on a chord tone. I'm not sure if that answers your question, but hopefully so. Okay, cool, thanks. Your playing with the thumb sounds incredible though. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much. Yeah, these are the ones I'm talking about. So did I clarify them for you? Maybe I'll do a few more examples here. Now in C minor. How about this? That's going up to the tonic and then sort of encapsulating the 7th, but maybe that's not quite the idea. Or you could do it just like we did it for the major, for the minor. Right? That's the same thing. I'm going 1, 3, 5, major 7th, but it's not really a major 7th. It's just a leading tone to the 1, so that it can create gravity, it can create pull towards the resolution onto 1. So you don't confuse that with a major 7th. And then, yeah, and then, right? So here on the last one was tonic, major 7. The reason why I'm using a major 7 is because every time you do this kind of arpeggio, you're really building the triad of the dominant chord of that chord, right? So who's the dominant of C? Is G. So you're really building the notes of G. Here's 1, 3, 5, 7 of G. So that's why I'm keeping using that major 7, that B natural, to create gravitational pull towards the C minor. I could not use the B natural. I could use the B flat to stay in key, but you hear it doesn't build so much tension for the resolution. See? Okay. Maybe I'll take another solo, guys. Since there are no questions for now, I like to since I started doing these lives for a while, after I covered a lot of stuff, I started liking to use these lives as just a way to share what I'm practicing. So I can invite you guys into my practice time. So then it's also fun for me. I'm not just explaining things, but I like to also use this time for my own advantage, sort of in a way to invite you guys into my practice routine. So I'm gonna take another solo. We got Luthier Gringos. Hey Gringos, how are you doing? Can you take a level 2 solo instead of a level 10? Yeah, I can take a simple solo if that's what you mean. Let's go for that's a good idea. Thank you. By the way, Bram, look at the WhatsApp group. I sent a message there today that I'm not going to be able to to attend to the course lesson today, and I suggested we meet on Monday because I have a gig this afternoon later at night, and I have to run to the gig. Otherwise, if I do the lesson, I won't have time to make it. I really appreciate you answering questions. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Luthier Gringos. Guys, check out the work of Luthier Gringos. His name is Bram, and he builds some beautiful guitars in Belgium. So here's a level 2 solo. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. I started going into my own world, and it was no longer a level 2 solo. Maybe I'll go back. Let me start again and try to make it simpler. Okay, obviously I tend to do things that I find fun and beautiful, so I couldn't take that limitation of trying to keep it simple. Let me try it again. Okay, how about this? I'm going to try to use just simple arpeggios, and then simple encapsulations like this. Okay, let's level 2. Remember. Okay, here we go. There will never be another you. Take 2. Level 2. 1, 2, 2, 3. Yay. All right. Bravo. Unrelated, but what strings would you recommend? I've been using Savares Cantiga high tension, but looking to try some others. Bro, if you have the means to buy a Savares, I would say just get a bunch of them. It's the best strings I know. I've been using just straight D'Addario strings lately. I actually got a gift from one of my students last year. His name is Jason King, and he sent me a little box of D'Addario strings because the price we pay in Brazil because of the import tax is ridiculous, and we actually pay about twice as much as people pay in the U.S. for these strings. And the couple of trademarks in Brazil that there are very bad quality. So we are in a very disadvantageous point economically speaking. So thankfully I got this gift from my student. He sent me about 20 little packs of the D'Addario strings. These are the ones. So that's one I've been using. I used the Vix Practice. Thank you for your donation, bro. Appreciate that a lot. I've been using, what was I going to say? I had been using high tension for a long time until I found out, talking to some great masters, that the medium tension would be better both for your technique, and there's even some theory that it says that since it pulls less on the top of the guitar, it lets it vibrate more. So that's a physics theory. I'm not sure if that's been proven. But I heard also from what's her name? I forgot her name. Goran. She's a classical player from Europe. Great, unbelievable classical player girl. And she says she uses middle tension strings as well. So about a year or two now, I've been just using medium tension strings. Yeah. Okay, all right, guys, so we're coming close to the end here. I definitely appreciate you guys sticking with me. I'll take some final questions if there are any about today's tune. Also take suggestions for next week's tune. We've covered Smile from Charlie Chaplin last week. And about a month ago, I did a live on Cherokee, which is a fun tune to play. Jason, oh damn, sorry you got to pay so much. Yeah, it's sad, man. We got a lot of disadvantages here in Brazil, economically. Joe Beam used to say that living in Brazil is level hard. It's not for everyone, man. It has a lot of difficulties. There's a lot of difficulties as a citizen, especially musical instruments or cars. We pay so much, so expensive. People, work their whole lives to buy a car in Brazil. It's ridiculous. They put themselves up to a lot of debt just to have a car. And I remember when I was in the States as a master's degree student, I bought a nice little Saturn, and I paid, I think it was like $3,000, and it was just ridiculous. I was a student and I bought a car. That was just unheard of in Brazil, impossible to be done in Brazil. But yeah, we're sticking with life, and doing the best we can, trying to keep a positive attitude. That's the way to be. So guys, stick with me next week. I'm going to be here same time, same place. For those of you who have not subscribed to the channel, that's a way that I'll be thankful that you can support my work. I've been sort of shifting a lot of my energy to the digital medium since the pandemic started. And I'm very happy that it has started to pick back up. I meant pick up, because it's not back up, because it was never big anyways. So I am thankful for those of you who subscribe to the channel. I've been posting a series on bebop. I just posted 2 videos on bebop. It's a 4-step to bebop. I posted step 1 and step 2. Probably by Monday I'm going to post step 3. There's just a few rules that you can use to try to grow your bebop language. Some steps, very clear and simple steps towards that language. So any more questions, guys, or I'll be saying goodbye here to you in just a couple more minutes. Thanks again, your playing is super inspiring. Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that, bro. I like the bebop videos. Oh, thank you, Bram. So you guys stay connected, and feel free to send me a message during the week suggesting any tunes that you might want to for me to discuss ideas over here. I think doing tunes is very cool because I've done probably more than 20 lives so far. No, more than 30 lives. It's been more than 30 lives teaching stuff. And I've taught nearly everything I know. It's like all modes from melodic minor and harmonic major scales and inversions and technique. And so much topics have been covered, so many topics. And from now on, I feel it might be a good idea to just do tunes. Because then over tunes, we can build vocabulary and we can apply all these things that have been taught. So you guys feel free to suggest tunes to be covered here. And that's it, guys. We have come to the end. Please be with me here next week, same time, same place. And I appreciate your being with me. And maybe I'll just take one last solo before we finish. Do you remember this tune in Roman numeral? Rhythm changes, tunes, or blues would be cool. Yeah, all right. Well, we can do a blues or rhythm changes. That's a great idea, actually. It's a great idea. I do play a few melodies for blues heads or rhythm changes. The Parker one. Thank you, Bruno. Do you remember this tune in Roman numeral? Yeah, Greens, I'm not sure what you asked. Do I remember this tune? And you mean the There Will Never Be Another You? Yeah, I could recite the tune in Roman numerals. You know, you got 1, 2, 5 to 6, 2, 5 to 4, 4 minor, 1, 6, 2 dominant, leading dominant, and then 2, 5, 1. Then again 1. There's a 2, 5 to 6, or I could call it 7, 5 of 6 and 6. Then 2, 5 of 4, and then 4 minor, and then 1. And then here, A minor and D7, there's no really way you can call this in Roman numerals, you know, because you would sort of think about these two chords as being in the key of G. And then back to 1, 7 major, flat 7 major, 5 of 2, 2, 5, 1. That's the analysis. I mean, do you always remember tunes by heart or register them like in Roman? I think both. I think it's a process that happens simultaneously. As I'm memorizing a tune, I memorize by the sound of it, but the analysis comes along with it. You know, as I'm learning a tune, whenever I see a chord, I immediately think about it analytically, immediately. I never think about a chord without trying to refer to the function of it. To me, it's something that I must do automatically, you know. I guess it's because I always like to improvise over tunes, and in order to improvise, you gotta know what that degree is, modally speaking. You have to know if it's Phrygian or Dorian, and that comes attached with a Roman numeral. If it's Phrygian, it's 3. If it's Dorian, it's 2, right? If it's Phrygian dominant, it's gonna be the 5 of something minor. If it's a dominant, it's the 5 or 5 of somebody, right? Some other degree, like a secondary dominant. So since I like to always look at chords already trying to understand what the family of notes is, meaning what the mode is, it comes attached with a Roman numeral. It's unavoidable to see these two things together. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate this live. It's been very fun. Be with me next week here at the same time. And subscribe. Thank you, guys. A hug and kiss in your heart.